The restaurant lights shimmered like distant stars, but for her, the world always felt slightly dimmer, as if joy reached her a second too late. She sat in her wheelchair near the window, hands folded neatly in her lap, unaware that this night had been designed as a joke, a cruel experiment by people who never expected her to matter. What they didn't know was that this evening would quietly break everything they believed about power, pride, and kindness, and rebuild it in tears. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us what being human truly means, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may be quietly breaking. Her name was Anaya, a 26-year-old woman who had learned to carry disappointment with grace. An accident at 17 had taken the strength from her legs and replaced it with a lifetime of sideways glances and forced sympathy. People often spoke to her slowly, as if her mind had been injured too, or avoided eye contact altogether, unsure how to behave around a wheelchair. She worked as a data assistant in a large corporate building, brilliant with numbers, efficient beyond praise, yet invisible beyond her desk. Her colleagues knew her as quiet, polite, and painfully kind. What they didn't understand was how deeply she longed to be seen as normal, as worthy, as someone who could be chosen without pity. The idea for the fake blind date started as laughter in the office break room. A few co-workers, bored and careless, joked about how impossible it would be for someone like her to ever land a man like the company's CEO. He was young, powerful, and rumored to be ruthless in business and cold in personal life. Someone suggested setting them up as a prank, claiming the CEO had agreed to a blind date arranged through a charity matchmaking event. It felt harmless to them, almost funny. After all, they assumed the CEO would never show up, or if he did, he would leave within minutes. Either way, they expected embarrassment, not consequences. Anaya hesitated when the invitation reached her. Years of rejection had taught her caution, but a fragile hope whispered that maybe this was real. Maybe someone had finally looked beyond the chair. She spent hours choosing a simple dress that made her feel elegant without trying too hard. She brushed her hair until it shone softly, applied light makeup, and practiced smiling in the mirror, reminding herself not to expect too much. Hope, she knew, was dangerous, but she let it breathe anyway. The CEO, Arjun Malhotra, arrived at the restaurant exactly on time. He was known across the industry for his discipline and precision, a man who valued time more than money. When he saw her by the window, something in his expression shifted, not shock, not pity, but surprise mixed with curiosity. He had not been told about the wheelchair. He had been invited under the impression of a genuine blind date connected to a foundation he quietly supported. In that moment, he could have turned away. He could have felt tricked and offended. Instead, he walked forward, grounded and calm, as if this was exactly where he was meant to be. The people who had arranged the prank watched from a distance, ready to record the moment he would excuse himself. Minutes passed. Then more. The CEO didn't leave. He sat with her, leaning forward attentively, his presence unhurried. Anaya felt her nerves slowly loosen, replaced by something unfamiliar, ease. She talked about her work, her love for old movies, how numbers felt like puzzles that made sense when the world didn't. She didn't know why he listened so carefully, but she felt, for the first time in years, that her words mattered. Arjun found himself unexpectedly moved. He had met hundreds of people who wanted something from him, who tried to impress or manipulate. Anaya wanted nothing. She spoke with honesty, not insecurity, but acceptance of her life as it was. He noticed the way she laughed softly, the way she carried herself with dignity despite a world that often reduced her to limitations. The wheelchair, to him, faded into the background. What remained was a woman with resilience etched into her soul. As the evening stretched on, whispers spread among the co-workers watching from afar. This was not how it was supposed to go. There was no humiliation, no awkward exit. Instead, there was warmth, connection, and something dangerously close to respect. Guilt began to creep in, but pride kept them silent. They convinced themselves it was still a joke, that it would end soon enough. When the bill arrived, Arjun insisted on handling it, not out of obligation, but habit. As they prepared to leave, he asked her if she would like to meet again, his tone steady and sincere. Anaya felt her heart falter. She had been disappointed too many times to leap blindly into belief. Still, she agreed, choosing courage over fear. As he helped ensure her ride home was comfortable and safe, she thanked him for the evening, unaware that this simple encounter had already begun to change both their lives. The truth unraveled days later in the office. A careless comment, a shared laugh that didn't realize Anaya was nearby. She learned everything in fragments: the prank, the fake charity story, the expectation that she would be humiliated. The pain didn't arrive loudly. It settled quietly in her chest, heavier than anger. She felt foolish for hoping, foolish for believing she could be chosen without cruelty attached. What she didn't know was that Arjun had discovered the truth too. When he confronted the situation, the weight of betrayal hit him hard. Not because of his reputation, but because of what they had done to her. He had seen her vulnerability, her cautious hope. Realizing it had been manipulated ignited a rare fury in him. But instead of reacting with public outrage, he chose something far more powerful. He requested a full team meeting, mandatory attendance. The room buzzed with tension as employees gathered, unaware of what was coming. Anaya considered calling in sick that day, her heart still raw, but professionalism pushed her forward. She took her place quietly, eyes downcast. Arjun spoke calmly, recounting the events of the blind date, not with anger, but with clarity. He described the courage it takes to show up when the world constantly underestimates you. He spoke about kindness as a measure of leadership, about how character is revealed not in how we treat the powerful, but the vulnerable. Then he revealed that he knew the date had been a setup, a joke at her expense. Silence fell like a storm. What followed left the room in tears. Arjun announced immediate consequences for those involved, but more importantly, he announced change. He shared that Anaya had been offered a role in a new analytics division he was personally overseeing, with flexibility, authority, and respect she had earned long ago. He didn't frame it as charity. He framed it as correction.